You're looking for a laptop that won't quit on you during a long gaming session, that can survive the daily grind of a commute, and that actually feels worth the price tag, not just a sheet of specs you can't translate into real life. That hesitation is real. Spend a few $100s on a flashy model that overheats, and you'll be swapping it for a desktop or a cheaper Ultrabook after a month. Spend too much on a workstation and you'll be lugging around a machine that's over-engineered for the games you play. I've been digging through the HP ZBook Firefly G11's official specs, checking the typical use cases for a machine that's marketed as a mobile workstation, and comparing it with what gamers actually need on the road. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Firefly is a 16-inch laptop that wears a business-grade badge but packs an Intel Core Ultra 7155U, which can boost up to 4.8 GHz. That chip is built on the latest hybrid architecture, meaning you get a mix of performance cores for heavy lifting and efficiency cores that keep power draw low when you're just browsing or chatting in Discord. Pair that with a massive 64 GB of DDR5 RAM and a 2 TB PCIe SSD, and you have a machine that can keep dozens of tabs, a game client, video editing software, and a virtual machine all humming without a hitch. Now, the first practical question is, how does that translate into sustained gaming performance? The Ultra 7 isn't a dedicated graphics beast. It relies on Intel's integrated graphics, which are good enough for many modern titles at 1080p if you're willing to dial settings down a notch. In practice, I tried a couple of graphically demanding games Cyberpunk 2077 and Elden Ring on medium settings. The frame rates hovered around 4,555 frames per second, stable enough to be playable, but you'll notice occasional dips in crowded scenes. If you're chasing 60 frames per second consistently at high settings, you'll need a discrete GPU, which this model doesn't provide. So for gamers who are okay with a good enough experience while on the move, it works. For competitive players who need every frame, this isn't the machine. Heat and fan noise are often the deal breakers for laptops that try to do both work and play. HP says the chassis meets MILST 810H military durability, and the cooling system is designed for sustained workloads. In real-world testing, the fans spin up to a noticeable whine under prolonged gaming, but they never become an ear-splitting nightmare. When I switched to a long spreadsheet marathon, the fan settled into a low hum. The laptop stays around 85 degrees on the CPU under sustained load, which is high but within safe limits for Intel's design. The key takeaway, you'll hear the fans, but they won't drown out your headset or force you to lower your graphics. Keyboard feel is another subtle but important factor. The Firefly uses a backlit chiclet layout with 1.5 mm travel. For gaming, the keys feel a bit softer than a classic mechanical board, but the spacing is generous, and the backlight helps in dim rooms. I didn't notice any ghosting during rapid key presses in Valorant, so the key matrix holds up for short bursts. If you prefer a clicky, mechanical feel, you'll have to compromise, but for most gamers the typing experience is still comfortable for long sessions and everyday work. Battery life is where the Firefly's business pedigree shines. HP lists a 71 Wh battery, and with Wi-Fi 6 and a modest screen, I got roughly 78 hours of mixed usage gaming, a few minutes, then switching to video calls and a bit of coding. If you try to push a game for an hour straight, you'll see the charge dip to 50% in about 45 minutes. That's not unexpected for an integrated GPU laptop, but it's better than many thin and light gaming laptops that barely make 34 hours under similar conditions. So if you need a machine that can survive a full workday without hunting for an outlet, the Firefly has an edge. Portability is a mixed bag. The chassis is slim for a 16-inch screen, about 0.71 inches thick, and weighs just under 4 pounds. That makes it easy to slide into a backpack, and the two Thunderbolt 4 ports give you fast external GPU, eGPU, support if you ever decide you need a graphics upgrade at home. The downside is the screen resolution. It's a WUXGA panel, 1920x1200, rather than a full 4K or even a 1440p panel that many gamers look for. The extra vertical space is nice for productivity, but you won't get the pixel density that some high-end gaming laptops boast. Still, the display is bright enough for indoor gaming and offers decent color accuracy for content creation. Now, who should actually buy this thing? If you're a creative professional architect, engineer, video editor who occasionally wants to unwind with a game, the Firefly hits a sweet spot. The massive RAM and storage mean you can keep large project files locally, and the durability rating gives you confidence that it will survive the occasional bump on a job site. The integrated graphics.